Hello, my friend. How are you doing? Does this famous statement strike you odd? A man was once asked, "What's the problem? What have you done?" Oh, the man replied, "It's the woman you gave me." And so it begins, the woes and the woes of a woman. The next thing you hear is a brother being asked, "Where's your brother?" "I'm not my brother's keeper." The response from the higher voice, "The blood of your brother is crying from the ground." And here begins the misery of humanity, the irresponsibility, the lack of accountability, the lack of taking any form of responsibility for an action or for inaction. And so it begins, and so we struggle with it. Because the story is not just a story, it's a bedrock, it's a tradition, it's a religion, it's the whole narrative of humanity. And it goes without saying that that's the template. That's where the script begins. And it doesn't end, it continues, it's perpetuated. Hello, my name is Joel Chessmate again. This is episode 59, man, fresh in the woods, having a little moment to reflect again on Rebecca Cheptegei, Agnes Tirop, and I think there's another lady, Mutua, who was strangled by an athlete a few years ago. And the story needs to be told. Justice needs to be sought after. Because the words I've just stated, the whole story, the whole paradigm of woman is she's to blame. She takes the burden. She's responsible for what happens to her. She is not a victim. She's the one who caused it. Is it? And so she was buried a week ago. Rebecca, Agnes, 3 years ago. Another lady, Mutua, 3 women athletes that I know of were buried. The last one of Rebecca, some people are celebrating that justice was found because, namely, the goon, the man who did it, succumbed to what he had inflicted on Rebecca. That's justice? Okay, let's stop there and say that's justice. What about the whole universe? What about the international community? What about the nation of Kenya, the nation of Uganda, the communities? Where were they? Because Rebecca Cheptegei is a story about Olympics in Paris to the land of perish, okay? Because it's just within weeks that she's in Paris and she perishes in the hands of a man who had no desire to see her live and enjoy what she's worked hard for. And that's the story of most athletes. And then we go to the funeral. We all show up at the funeral. Oh, you are in our thoughts. Oh, you are in our prayers. We're going to try to figure out what's going on. That's for the moment. Because carnage, abuse, violence against women continues. It does continue. Because the statistics, the data coming from the organizations that watches violence against women, in Kenya in particular, are quite alarming. And I think it goes to this beginning I tried to insinuate, to kind of pop up and give that big picture. What have you done? Why did you kill her? Why did you do this? It's the woman you gave me. A man said, "You know who it is? is the father of man. And since then, we've taken that cue, we've taken that skewed cue, we've taken that imbalance, we've taken that irresponsible statement, and we've internalized it. And so we walk around saying, oh, it's the woman. Rebecca Cheptegei started showing fears and anxiety during Olympics. A friend who spoke to a newspaper in Paris spoke of her fears going back home. She had felt something wasn't right. Her life was in danger. The man we are talking about, what he did and how he did it speaks volume to the whole mental state of how he was thinking. The parents of Rebecca Cheptegei talk about how she had sought protection from the system, from the police, from the chief, from the elders, from anybody. You know what's protecting Rebecca Cheptegei when she was being doused by gasoline to her death? It was her two daughters, 11 and 9 years old. That's the only protection she had. She had been abandoned to perish. What a sad indictment to the society, to the system. The police didn't show up. They showed up when it was all said and done. They barely showed up. They were given these cry for help all the time. I'll give Kenyan police a break. They are just as helpless and as useless as it comes, my friend. It could be a global problem. It could be another national problem around the world. But when women are crying for help, when this woman Rebecca was going to the system, going to seek some protection, they look the other way. Can I say maybe they wanted to be bribed to show up? That's even more chilling. That justice has to be bribed, it has to be bought. The ones with money will always buy it, isn't it? And so I'm exposing this story over and over again to realize that our traditions of nonsense, our culture of indifference, our religion of prayers and you in our thoughts, is the laziest, is the most indifferent thing we can ever do when people are saying, I need help. Address the issue. The issue is within us. It's in the heart. It's in the mind. We need to debunk. We need to reform the mind. The mind needs to be reformatted and be told humanity is not a matter of tradition. It's not a matter of culture. It's a community endeavor. Life is precious. We have to protect it. It's not just about the environment. It's about the mind being protected and being made to be healthy, to be seeing things with different lenses. Because the lenses most men have is really skewed. It's toxic. People talk of masculinity toxicity. You can call it all kinds of names. People talk of evil. You can give it all kinds of names. At the end of the day, it's a mind that has lost its spiritual component. Because in the spiritual component, life is precious, it's universal, it's treasured by many people. And so when I talk about this issue, this story of women, I'm not talking about just women, I'm talking about humanity. And I'm speaking with a voice that is very concerned. Because when I heard about the leaders during the funeral, they could make some great statements. How good Rebecca was, how she's worked so hard, how she's done this. When she wanted the community, the society, the nation, just people to come and listen to her cry for help, people just walk the other way. The father was concerned about this man who was seen as a danger in her life. It wasn't the first time, according to the family. And that's what happens in most settings where we hear women perish in the hands of these violent creatures. They always give us signals. Oh no, is there a problem? Is it? Is it? What about social problem? What about society problem? What about family? What about community responsibility? Where is that collective narrative? And you know one thing I want to bring up on this subject? Kenya as a country, we suffer from what we call short memory syndrome. We do. It's so sad. I remember the founder, they call him the father, they call him whatever, Jomo Kenyatta. The first thing he said when he took oath in 1963, if I remember correctly, I recollect this, he said this: let's forgive but not forget. We seem to do both at the same time. We just forget. If we forgiveness, just we forget. Maybe it's because of how poor people are. Maybe it's how they've suffered. So they have to keep a very short, a very small space for memory, because their pain, their suffering is always on their face. So they cannot accumulate all that suffering. Maybe that's a selective way of survival, selective way of memory to survive. Maybe that's Kenya for you. Maybe that's how poor people navigate the world. They have to look at things and then they look the other way. Oh, that's dead? Okay. They're crying for help? Okay. 2007, we had 2,000 people killed in a political setting. Okay. We don't have reconciliation for that. Roberto Huko, Tomboya, let's go Alexandra Muge, all these killings. Even last few weeks, a month ago, we had maybe 40 or so. We don't know how many perished during the protest. Short memory, forget it. Next. Maybe that's how we survive as a country. Really? We just have short memory. We have no idea even that in 1998, there was a bomb in Nairobi that killed more Kenyans than anybody else. What have we done about that as a country? I'm just asking because Rebecca Cheptegei just passed away. She just got killed. Well, the guy who did it, well, he died. What about the society? Where's justice? We need to ask those questions within the social setting, the national setting, the athletic association, the athletic body, the brothers and sisters. We need to wrestle with these issues of why it's plaguing us. We can't just have short memory and selective memory. Okay? We can't. We cannot continue this path. So I speak to that. I speak to that today. Because Rebecca Cheptegei, Agnes Tirop, and Mutua, I forgot her other name. There are 3 women I have in mind. Will be part of I'll be putting them on my platform whenever I get a thought or 2. So to this is in memory of the fallen. Again, the blood of our sisters and brothers. We might think it's not crying, but it's crying on the ground. Who is listening? Is it the higher powers? We have responsibility, my friend. You and I. It's me, my friend. I'll talk to you later.